we have here is a traditional old school Bell bicycle skateboard helmet. It is a size large, probably a youth size, and it fits me perfectly. Buttons under the chin, has solid hard plastic construction with a foam interior and then comfort padding. The reason why I have this is because sometimes you're only practicing for operations, or sometimes you might be in that environment where you might want a little bit of head protection, but you don't need a full-blown helmet. Maybe you're only riding a bike, maybe you're only rock climbing, maybe you're only out on a canoe in rough water. There's no reason why you shouldn't have this on your head. I have suffered a head injury before. I had a concussion while I was in high school in Texas playing football, and I split the helmet with the contact that I made. I have a goose egg right here for it. I had black and blue eyes for 2 weeks, and luckily no long-term injuries. I don't have any TBI or anything going on, which is traumatic brain injury. So the reason why I would have something like this is for the practice environment. You practice how you train. You train how you fight. By the time you get to the fight, everything else should have already been harder than what you're experiencing. If you bleed in training, you'll survive in war. What this is right here is a map of Camp Pendleton, California, effective of 1993, I think is when this was released by the DLA, which is DMA Defense Mapping Agency. And it shows here some different training ranges, some different off-limits areas, the different terrain features, the different environments, obviously the coastline, which the Marine Corps uses for amphibious training operations. Red zones typically on a map would indicate impact areas. Don't go there, you're going to step on something that's going to hurt you, or you're going to be somewhere where somebody's going to drop something on you. Don't go into red. Red no go, red bad. Checkered red is generally the same condition, although with authorization and with proper preparation, you can pass through those areas because there's nothing dangerous there, and nobody's going to drop anything if they know you're there. The lighting's kind of poor here, but you would see that there's squares, what we call grids, and we use those grids on a numbering system, left to right, up and down, and we can actually call out 8 digits in a grid. Every grid breaks down 10 more times. The next one breaks down 10 more times and adds 2 more digits, and we call that coordinates on a map. And that's what makes this map different from a typical civilian map, which you see here to the left, which is our California southwest coastline, Coronado, San Diego, downtown area, and different locations there. As you'd see that they don't have the gridding coordination mapping system here that we do in the military on this map. I can actually use this map talking on the radio to forces forward deployed who actually see an enemy, and them operating off the same map. We know each other's location. I'm artillery. I have my friendly infantry forces forward. They're observing the enemy. They're going to call their position, which I already know digitally, and they're going to call out on the radio the perceived or known position of that enemy force based on terrain features and terrain association, and they're going to give me the numbers from this map, and they're going to digitally and verbally feed me that information so that digitally I can put that information into my guns, and I can verbally verify that information, and I can call fire either through air, mortar, artillery on to those enemy forces forward using this map. And that's why these maps are made that way.
So if the military were to, let's say there was a war in America, they'd use these type of maps.
Yes, in addition to every available source of information as current as possible. If in the United States we have several sources of information, I'm going to use it. We have Google, for God's sakes. They probably mapped the map you're going to look at digitally within the last 18 months. Okay? In an urban environments in this world are changing exponentially, dramatically, very, very fast, especially in the urban living areas. Okay? Not necessarily in downtown areas. They get taller, but there's not much room for them to get wider, but they can sprawl. So that information is very, very important that it be updated and accurate. So you have civilian maps, DeLorme, what's that one, Streets. There's lots of software, and Microsoft, I believe, comes out with the software mapping that's current to the year every year. Of course, there's GPS, land nav that we have in our vehicles, which has software updates of your Google is constantly updating. We also have these military maps. We have old school paper maps. We're going to use all of that information to get the best, current, most accurate information possible in real time. And we're even going to use drone intelligence and flyover information to make sure that information that we're looking at is accurate, and develop that information based on the flyover drone intelligence that we gather is being accurate right now and new. So we're talking like 8 to 10 different sources that are going to come in very, very quickly to develop our situation before we're going to make a decision to do what we need to do.